It might not be what you expect to see or hear, or feel like your truth. But for now, I ask you to pause your thoughts, put them in a drawer, let your beliefs take a nap, and dive deep with me.
Beautiful dreamer. Oh, Danielle, I know it's the 20s, but that sound is not back. Try again. This is it. Beautiful dreamer, wake unto me. Starlight and dewdrops are waiting for thee. There it is. Much more Disney sounding. We all have dreams. This is one of them right here. You have left your world temporarily, and I hold you suspended in my dream space. But I am not asleep. No. I'm the dream weaver. And I have plucked this dream out of my heart and put it on stage for you. And for me, because let's face it, I've always wanted to have a captive audience, and here you are. Dreams have always held special meaning for me. They are messages wrapped up in symbols, which means the exact same dream has different messages for all of us. That's why we're starting with Disney. A show of hands if Disney influenced you growing up. Yes, welcome to therapy. Everything we watched influenced us. Disney helped me shape how I dream. And growing up, there were 2 movies that I would watch over and over again, relentlessly. The Little Mermaid and The Princess Bride. Relentlessly. I mean, these stories excited me. They helped me shape what to expect as a woman, namely my romantic hero. There's always a romantic hero. It helped me set a few goals. I mean, first of all, mermaids? Yes. Sign me up. Become a siren and a queen. We do have to address that Prince Eric does not appear to have any king or queen parents, so that really makes him King Eric and her Queen Ariel, and so am I. Yes, queen. Help me set a few goals. Aspire to be loved by a handsome adventurer willing to risk death to stay by my side. Risking death not required. Simply a plot device. These stories helped me figure out what I should be doing. I mean, let's take a closer look at them, shall we? Once upon a time, I had a friend who asked me, "Hey, Danielle, who do you prefer, Prince Eric or Aladdin? Go!" And I went. Now, no offense to Aladdin, who is a liar and a thief with a heart of gold. But, I mean, Eric clearly takes the cake. He travels, he's musical, he goes back into a shipwreck inferno to rescue his beloved dog companion. He's compassionate when he meets a shipwrecked woman. And her disability of not being able to speak was not a problem for him. He found ways to communicate. So yeah, I get why Ariel took risks to meet that guy after watching him for like 10 minutes. Hey, she was young, secretive, and willing to do anything for love or hormones. She knew attraction when she felt it. So what does she do? She trades her voice to the sea witch, her defining strength, and she discovers she did not need it to be herself. I know that's not the usual takeaway, but stay with me here. So, she found ways to communicate. She expressed. Now, let's take a pause there. Let's take a look at The Princess Bride. Here we have Buttercup. Totally different lead. She is a selfish, entitled landowner who has hunky Wesley utterly devoted to her. But he's her farm boy, so she resists. And she resists, and she resists until she can resist no more. And when she gives in, that's when he decides he has to go and better himself. And so he leaves for 5 years. Buttercup spends 5 years mourning the loss of her love because she thinks he's dead, and he let her. He doesn't come back for 5 5 years. And when he does, he's changed. Suddenly, he's no longer the farm boy Wesley. He is the dread pirate Roberts. Spoiler alerts for no one who, if you haven't seen the movie, it's been out for 30 years, so I don't know what to tell you. So, each of these women find themselves pawns of powerful players, namely Prince Humperdinck, who wants to marry and murder Buttercup to start a war, because agendas, and Ursula, the sea witch, who wants revenge on her brother. And each of these women have to make choices. What are they willing to do to get what they want? Now, neither of these women are off their path. They just have to overcome a few obstacles. Life has a funny way of putting obstacles in our path and saying, all right, human, what are you going to do? And then it's up to us to go, I really don't know. However, where one of them was an active, impulsive chooser of fate despite consequences, and let me just remind you what those were, being turned into a worm, the other sort of drifts along in a despondent depression. So now I, the viewer, have taken on these qualities and made them parts of my soul. The active, impulsive chooser of fate, despite consequences, and the terrified to love again, passive depressive. They get along great. So, there's conflict inside of me, right? There's the conflict where one part of me desires to pursue love and the other desires to protect myself from abandonment. And each of these desires are pulling me back and forth in a tug of war. I've become every woman that I've learned from and every woman that I've wanted to be. So who else is in there? Oh, Xena! Xena Warrior Princess! Dun 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 dun! Ah! Oh yes, I wanted to be her too. I wanted to ride around on my noble steed, defending the innocent and fighting my own battles. And I also noticed each of these women had something in common. They were all called princess. Well, luckily for me, I was my father's princess. I was ahead of the game. So let's go back. Let's go way back. I'm born. Oh, yay. Hello, little one. Welcome to the world. Yes, I'm the firstborn, which means my parents were a little concerned with keeping this brand new life alive. And so as new parents, they decided, well, I'm going to be very strict with her. You can't go anywhere unless I tell you to. And I'm just like, wah, okay. Hold on, let's just put her down. You'll be safe here, sweetie. All right. So, our parents and our guardians are the first people to introduce us to our options in the world. So for me, I learned my options are restricted to my parents. I either do what they say or I don't do anything at all. Does anyone recognize that truth? Yes, trust me, dear, I know better than you. Well, surely that's true when we're new. But for me, this continued until one day it became, well, you should have known better. Okay, but when? At what point had my parents decided I should trust my own instinct and know my own mind and be my own person? What point does that happen for any of us? And it didn't stop there. All the messages that come from our guardians become interpreted and internalized, and then we stop paying attention, but we're all acting from those places. So let's look at both my parents, okay? My father was a worker for the MTA. That's the Metropolitan Transit Authority for people not familiar with that. Yes, he was an electrician, and he worked a lot of overnights to provide for his young family, because remember, providing for your family is one of the defining things we put on men. So off he went to provide. But what that really meant was I hardly ever saw him. In fact, for most of my life, until I was about 12, I only recognized him as a sleeping form under blankets. He was more mummy than daddy. But he knew he was missing out on his young family growing up, so he made sure to always be there for father-daughter dances. And when he had free time, that meant playtime. We would frolic in nature and climb trees and skip stones. Yes, my father gave me a profound love of nature. Thanks, Dad. Now, my mother, very different. Gentle, where he was gruff. Soothing, where he sought to teach lessons. Yes, she's a sensitive soul with a compassionate heart, and she taught me to be aware of everyone's feelings because we all have them, and we're all affected by them. And what this really meant was I grew up to be hyper-vigilant. I am aware of all of you right now. Yes. If you're hot, just take the sweater off. It's fine. I learned to be the hostess with the mostest, and well, my mom had her sister, my magical madrina, and I learned arts and crafts and sewing costumes. So for me, what I learned was women are my safe place. Women are my sanctuary. Men are scarce, unless there are adventures to be had. And then, when there was no one around to watch me, I had the television. Oh yes, the magical friend that would take me away to fairy tale lands and other people's classrooms and dystopian futures, no matter how much I try and change the channel. Yes, well, the television has given way to the internet, and we all know that both television and the internet has more programs than just children's programs. So despite me learning the power of friendship from Sailor Moon and how to treat my classmates with Barney the dinosaur, and of course Captain Planet teaching me that the power is yours, bum, 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 I discovered other channels. So I discovered pornography at the tender age of 8. I know, scandalous, and I understood more than adults might think a child can. For example, I understood I had stumbled on a secret. Now, luckily for me, I knew who I could bring my secret to. My older cousin, Alex. Oh, she was my guide to life. From her, I learned the basics. Boys, one day I'd be a woman, periods were gonna be a thing. She told me about kissing, and I was like, well, gee, this seems like the perfect opportunity to ask her. By the way, Alex, what's sex? Well, she was only 4 years older than I was. It's amazing what kids can learn, and it's the most fascinating subject, one we keep pretending should not be taught. We keep pretending as long as the children don't know about it, the world will be a safer place. And we know that's not true. No. Instead, those are the breeding grounds for rapists, pedophilia, sex abuse. I propose, let's do the opposite, unless you want to keep those things going. I don't think so. I don't think those are going so well. I propose teach kids to be aware younger. Okay? We are in human bodies, and it's important that we teach them that sometimes there's going to be an inappropriate human who might try and access this body with or without our permission. How do we know this? Oh, I don't know. A millennia of exactly that happening. For example, girls. Oh, beautiful girls. Sweet, darling girls. I know you're not yet a woman, not still a girl, but the world desires to sexualize girls so young. You know how I know? I developed at a tender age of 12. By 12, actually, I had a full woman's body that you see here today. Except I was in the 7th grade. 7th grade. But adult men saw this. So adult men chose to go, honk, honk, sweetheart. And I was very confused by all of this attention because on the one hand, flattering, oh my goodness, I must be so pretty. And on the other hand, oh my God, I hope that man is not following me home. We could teach everyone the importance of sacred sex. Could you imagine what the world would be like if we were open to communicate these things? The world could be free to communicate with each other. We could feel free to express what we actually desire. Dare I even say we could have an influx of the sexually talented? Oh yes, a world where pleasure is celebrated. That is the world I want to live in. But at the moment it's not. At the moment we live in a world of sex offenders and sex pretenders and angry sex resenters who keep creating laws that keep these bad behaviors going under the pretense that they have moral high ground. But I don't think there's anything moral about it. And it doesn't have to be difficult. I'm not saying we go teach them how to do it. No. I'm saying start simple, like touching. Humans touch each other, but there is a difference between a simple touch, hello, and a lingering touch that might mean, hey, I'd like you to stop touching me now. Thanks. Well, when I look around at the world, I get pretty pissed off because we've come so far, and yet we have people fighting to drag us back into the dark depths where places were scary. And let's face it, people, pornography is not an instruction manual. Okay, research any move you saw in porn before you go try it. Yes, and if you have a partner who does not want to do that thing that you saw them do, don't get offended and don't resent them. But do figure out, is this a need or is this a want? Because if it's a need, then you need to reconsider who you're with. Because needs have this funny way of getting met, whether it's moral or not. So, it's important that we share the conversation. Otherwise, we start building up these little problems in our relationships, and relationships can get so weird, don't you think? Yes. Thank God for the artists and the lovers of the world, because we are the balance. We are what keeps us from living in the feral Stone Age. So, I'm glad I had my cousin Alex. I said, Alex, what's sex? She said, Danielle, sex is when you share your body with someone. Oh, isn't that so nice? You aren't giving it away. You aren't losing it. You're sharing it. Sex is meant to feel good. If it doesn't feel good and you didn't agree upon that pain, stop. Okay, your body's communicating with you. It's got messages and you best listen. Yes. And most importantly, sex is a bonding ritual. Now, how you choose to go about that is up to you and your consensual partner. But what about relationships? Well, relationships are also the bonds we build between people, but they could be a little different. They're more like energy bonds, you know? Relationships with your family, relationships with your friend, relationships to your audience. How you doing? We're having a brief relationship right now. Yes, every interaction is a relationship. Okay, what about marriage? Oh, a hot topic. Yes, we made it to there, people. Here we go. Marriage is presented as the most desirable thing for little girls, right? Think of the messages. Oh, plan your perfect wedding. Get ready for your perfect day. But for guys, what do we tell them? The worst thing ever! Watch out for the old ball and chain, boys. Never get married. So we see the conflict there, right? We're literally being fed different expectations from youth. And I noticed it always seemed to be the end of the story. They got married, the end. Well, that's suspicious. What are you hiding? And we are hiding things on purpose. Because remember, marriage for love, relatively new. I mean, things were different for men and women of the past. Marriage was a contract in the time of war and treating women as property and survival for women who were not allowed to make money outside of the man who owned them, that she was married to. And of course, let us remember that marriage had an imbalance, okay? Serve the husband, serve the children. This seems like indentured servitude. Surrendering and abandoning yourself for others is the most magical thing women can do if you want approval in society. And heaven forbid a woman seek out her own sexual experience, especially outside of women, because remember, you can only be pure or you're a whore. There is no in between. Who made these rules? They're dumb. No. remember this, okay? Women are raised to be soft and to be nurturers, which is lovely. I love that for us, and I would love that for you guys as well. And then men are raised under different principles, follow the strongest leader, go fight in that war, don't worry about what's happening at home, trust that your woman is running things. In fact, expect that she's running things. And there's this idea that while men were away, they could be up to anything, including other women, or more. So as I grew up, I began to see a different side of womanhood. Or I once saw women as these magical sorceresses and these benevolent teachers and kindly queens. I saw the darker side. I saw women abandoned. I saw desperate women fighting to survive and to keep their children alive. I saw women and what they were willing to do in revenge. Tell me, are we all familiar with Medea? Obviously not the Tyler Perry version. No. Let's go back, Euripides style. Medea is a sorceress, and she is pivotal in the tale of Jason and the Argonauts. She finds the location that no one else could find. She brews a magical lotion that he puts on his body so that fire will not consume him. Again, something else no one else was able to do. She even murders her own brother to save Jason's life. By the way, Jason, red flag. He saw her do that and decided to marry her anyway. But he does. He marries Medea. And what happens? 10 years later, here's a younger, hotter princess. And Jason is like, baby, sweetie, honey, I love you, but I'm gonna marry her. Don't worry, I'll still take care of you, but for the title. And if you say King Creon told him to do it, Jason made a choice, okay? He made the choice to do it. So what does Medea do? Medea takes the lives of her children in the ultimate act of revenge. She murders them. And I know there is a hot contested community that thinks abortion is child murder, but this right here is real child murder. These boys were under 8 years old. They had names, they had lives, and they lost them at their mother's hands because in her despair, she became deranged, and she wanted that pain to be felt by the man who caused it. So she did the only thing she knew that would make him feel that pain. How about Henry VIII? Are we all familiar with Henry VIII? Oh, yes, the famous king who married and murdered his wives. Yes, all in the despair of having an heir. Not the 2 daughters that he had, because they were not allowed to inherit based on the rules of the men who came before him, who wrote them. It's all invented rules, people. So, 6 women had to be sacrificed for his loins. As I grew older, I began to realize marriage terrified me. Everything I learned about it looked like a trap. It looked like an indentured place, the only way a woman could thrive. And I decided, well, that is never going to be me. So I made a solemn vow. I would never get married. Pretty heavy for a 10-year-old, I know. But when I was 8, I made an equally solemn but different vow, and that was no sex until marriage. And I clearly broke one of these vows. But it would take me a long time to get there. I would have to have a stoic Catholic upbringing first. Oh, yes. When I was 8, my parents transitioned me from public school to Catholic school, and I angsted. I was like, am I being punished? I already have Catholic training. It's called CCD, the Confraternity of Christian Doctrine. Notice the word con. No stress, followers of the faith. I'm not here to smear it any more than they have. I'm just here to poke fun. So, I always interpreted God as my mythology. Like the Greeks had Zeus, and the Vikings had Odin, and I had God. Yes, go forth and conquer the nation in my son's name. At least he only impregnated one woman, right? And he asked her permission first. Yes. So I look at our religion and I'm like, you know what? I'm down with Jesus and loving thy neighbor, but I have problems with, like, our creation story. I think about it, I see Adam and Eve, right? Here we go. We have two perfect human specimens. They were hotties with bodies, created by the Lord our God, and they discover they are naked for the first time ever. Do we really think they were feeling shame? Come on, they were clearly feeling each other. They were looking at each other like, I just have this impulse to bring you close and hold you and squeeze you everywhere, right? Listen, humans learn best when they play, so off Adam and Eve go to play with each other. And I imagine God is like a scientist who is studying his creation, and he keeps a journal, because that's what all good scientists do. And it went something like this. Day 1, reverse psychology is a success. One simple rule and they've already broken it. Humans are funny that way. Yes, I shall continue to see what they do. Oh, day 2. The humans have discovered each other everywhere. I keep telling them that is not what I intended that hole for. But props for ingenuity. Yes, man is a creative species. Indeed, I shall once again continue to see what they do. Day 3. The humans continue to do each other. They don't even care when I'm there. And the noise! Who knew Eden would be so echoey? I am not jealous. I keep reminding myself I'm a strong, independent God who don't need no Adam. To remind myself that I'm ultimate creator. Oh, yes, I just continue to see what they do. The humans continue to do each other. I must put a stop to this. Ooh, note to self, invent sleep. Yes, it's the Garden of Eden. Everything is perfect, which means Adam has no layover time. And he ate from the tree of knowledge, which is obviously what Eve named herself. So, Adam's got moves. And Eve is wild about it. And let's face it, God is jealous because the Christian Bible wrote out the divine feminine. And so, God has no one to try these sexy moves on. And as we've just discussed, Adam has sexy moves. So, after 7 days and 7 nights of this very biblical number, God goes a little crazy, right? Have you ever lived with a couple who is doing it non-stop while you are not? Yeah. So, God calls them in and he's like, guys, listen, hey, this living situation, it's not working out. You got to go. Oh, but not without a few consolation prizes. To Adam, a swift kick to the groin. Boom. Yes, he immediately passes out, and that's why most men also lose consciousness after just one go. To Eve, sweetie, honey, baby girl, come here. I gift you the gift of periods. And she naively says, what's a period? And God says, hey, don't worry about it. That'll stop once you're pregnant. And what fun that'll be. And she says, what's pregnancy? And he says, hey, don't worry about it. Don't study it. Don't write about it. Don't share info about it. Don't look it up. And then he kicked them both out and thought that was the end of that. But oh, how wrong he was. Because now the world is overpopulated with humans and we have some serious issues. I learned Old Testament God is a punishing God. His message is, I love you, that's why I punish you. No, we call that an abusive relationship. And let's talk about it. A woman's period is not a punishment, but I know the moment I bring it up, everyone in the audience clenches. Oh, it's society. It interests me because I can turn on the television and watch any measure of war and gore. Slasher flicks and horror films are for pleasure. But as soon as we talk about blood flowing naturally, taboo! Honestly, the world took its 2 favorite things, blood and vaginas, and canceled them out. That was terrible training, people. A woman's period, the cycle. We have to address blood, and blood is magic. Yes, I said it. Blood is life force, and women are brimming with life force. And it is a cycle. Every week is like a different season. Spring, summer, autumn, winter, spring, summer, autumn, winter, over and over. That's why they call it our cycle. And each week comes with different emotions. You know, in our spring and summer weeks, we're feeling flirty. And in our autumn weeks, we're feeling a bit moody. And in our winter weeks, we're feeling the sense of loss. Because a piece of us is leaving. When it comes to blood, and when it comes to women, we have to talk about it and cancel out those stupid rules, because not talking about it leads to disease and pain, and women's pain is always meant to be a secret. But why? Because again, I watch men roar with anger and take their violent injuries all the time, and that's fine. And to me, I think it's because blood and pain are tied to emotion. And emotion is this crazy little thing that we're deeply uncomfortable talking about. Emotion is energy in motion. But I learned growing up that emotions were weaknesses that we never talk about, and they could be manipulated, so I would keep mine as secret as possible. But emotions are physical, tangible things, people. Ignore them and they will only get stronger and louder and manifest as illness and disease. Honestly, if we couldn't feel feelings, then I wouldn't feel punched in the gut by bad news or flutterings in my heart at delightful things. So all of this is what I absorbed. And when I looked at the way that women were allowed to feel their feelings, but men were shamed about it. I mean, think about the different messages. Little boys don't cry. Yes, they do. They've got tear ducts. Why are we spreading these bad messages that spread bad behavior? All right? The only way men are allowed to express their feelings is through sex and war. So I present to you wargasms. Yes, it's the release that a man feels when he has the release of screaming. All right? Think about it. Men, they need combat because they need a way to get these emotions out. Remember, they don't have a cycle. They're not getting a fresh supply every month, so emotions get stuck. So we've got war. Yeah. Oh, men love it, don't they? At least the ones starting it do, because they have all these human lives lined up like little toy soldiers. And we are, again, trained. Follow the leader. Throw your life away. We'll honor you. So that is what most men do. For they're deserving of honor, and they're deserving of emotion, and a lot of it got suppressed and repressed because they weren't allowed to feel it as kids. So off they go to fight some wars. Oh, no. I want you to imagine this, okay? We have two movies playing. One is Wuthering Heights, and the other one is Saving Private Ryan. Which one do you think the man goes to see? Yes, and again, it's because there is something about the clashing of the swords and the screaming of men that just makes them feel so alive. All right? They look at each other and say, I'm gonna be inside you with my sword! They gotta get it out of their systems, those homoerotic bastards. Seriously, sports and war, the only way men are allowed to touch each other, right? Let us think of the Greeks and how they wrestled naked. And the Romans had the gladiators fight to the death. Now women, I've noticed, are allowed to be homoerotic. I admit it's gotten me into trouble sometimes. More on that later. Think about how often naked women are used in advertising, right? A naked woman selling me a sandwich, a naked woman selling me makeup, a naked woman probably selling selling me toilet paper. The message is naked is beautiful as long as you're a woman. But for guys, not allowed! No, again, it becomes subverted. Think about this. How often do you see a naked man on a motorcycle? A naked man mowing the lawn? Okay? Are we all just picturing a gay magazine now? Because that's where my brain was trained to take me. Yes, men are told by other men that the male form is to be repulsed, especially your own. And so that becomes internalized, and a part of themselves begins to hate the other part of themselves, and the male form is not hideous. It's beautiful. It's just as beautiful as naked women. All bodies are beautiful to look at, but they are also different to look at. And when we specialize what kind of body to look at, we don't really appreciate all the other options. And there are other options. So, all of this is what little Danielle internalized, absorbed, and what we internalize we often forget about. So, I forgot about it. I grew up, and I went to high school, and I dated nobody. Oh no, I was terrified of men, and I couldn't figure out why. And I went to Catholic school, as I may have mentioned, and well, in Catholic school, there were all types of groups going on. I had people in the drama department. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but that's where I went. I knew people in the sports department. Now, I don't know if you can tell. Hey, I used to do sports. Don't judge me. All right. But my friends and I, we were what was known as the outcasts. We were not cool. No, I was too expressive. I had a lot of fun, and I had a lot of gal pals, because remember, women were my safe place, and I loved it. But when it came to boys and guys asking me out, I didn't know how to clearly express, like, I just want to be your friend. There was this one time when I was on a trip that we were so young, 12, 13. This boy was trying to tell me he liked me, and I felt trapped on a school bus, so I slashed him with my nails. I was like, heck, he won't like me if I use my claws. Listen, we all handle conflict differently. Oh, yes. So at 14, I was given permission to date, and by 18, my not dating anyone made people confused, and it made some people suspicious. Like, Danielle, are you not interested in dating guys? I didn't know how to tell them I wasn't interested in dating any of them. Well, for this next part, you need to know. By senior year, I had the downstairs apartment in my family's home, and it was way more privacy than I needed, because I never had guys over, but I would use it to have super sleepovers with my gal pals. We would do spells, and we would create movies, and we would do arts and crafts. Oh, it was a great time. And in this room, I had a window. And one of those nights, I realized, I think I can sneak out my window. It started with curiosity. Would I fit? Yes, the answer was yes. I just needed a little help getting back in. I was on the first floor, don't worry about it. Now, this was an experiment. My friend and I snuck out. We visited another high school buddy. We were like, gee golly, I can't believe we're out at 12:15 on a school night. So pure. Then came the night. I'm having a super sleepover with one of my besties. We're making kites. Picture it, 2005. Yes, 20 years ago. Styrofoam plates on the floor. We're gluing bits of sponge and glittering, and tee-hee-hee, and my phone rings. Just a little ring. Hello. It's my gay bestie, B. Why does it matter that he's gay? It'll matter later. Stick to the story. He's on the phone, and he wants to tell me that our high school crush is out on the town, and he wants me to come out too. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome, but no. Click. We're in for the night, but I got a second phone call. Ring. Hello? D, you have to come out. Let's call this high school crush Eli. It's Eli. He's not just here, he's drunk, and he is grinding with our best friend on the dance floor. Well, obviously this changes everything. I'm sorry, Eli is out, he's drunk, and he's grinding with our best friend. Ah! So from the tiny voice of the phone that I just dropped, I hear him saying, I'm coming to get you! And I'm over here pulling clothes out of my dresser saying, yes! Come and get us! I mean, we had an emergency, people. One, change our clothes because I'm in jammies. My hair's in a messy bun. And we have to go out. I never went out, but luckily I had an older cousin who was like, you need going out clothes. So I pulled out my skimpiest t-shirt. Thank you, Forever 21. R.I.P. Yes, it was plunging. And I had the audacity to add this beautiful bra that same cousin had gifted me. And it wasn't enough that it was a push-up bra. No. It had these two tantalizing strings that outlined my cleavage like some barely legal porn star. But I was a high school girl with zero experience, and I was ready to go get some. I wanted my high school crush to see what I looked like underneath that Catholic schoolgirl sweater. So I put it on, and my friend despaired because, well, we were different sizes, but we had one thing in common, and it was that huge rack. So I pulled out a cami, and I said, I want you to trust me, buddy, put this on. And she did, and it squeezed over her figure-8 form, and it pushed her boobs up into her chin, and we were ready. Except she said, you need one more thing, makeup. And I gasped, Jo? Makeup? I was the all-natural student. I didn't wear makeup, so I bargained with her, just eyeliner. And I remember it was that first time wearing makeup, going out, and I felt transformed. Suddenly, my eyes were popping out of my face, just like my boobs were popping out of my shirt. Oh, I was all vixen-like, wearing sexy war paint and ready for sexy war. Or so we thought. Then, the next gambit. How are we going to get out without the parents noticing? The window. Yes, I had faith we could do it, but my friend had zero faith. She was taller than I was. She was not as flexible as I was. She despaired. So I was like, all right, this is what we're going to do. Bum, 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 no. I let her out through the back door, where we had a sliding door to the yard. I let her out from there, then I made sure to close it and lock it. I'm not going to let burglars into my home. She goes out through the yard, locks that door too. Thanks for being such a safe friend. Then she went out by the side of the house, and I went back into my bedroom door, locked that one, hopped out the window, lowered it just enough to make sure no one thought that anyone wasn't there, and off we went. And there I was waiting for a ride, and I was shaking in my boots because I had never gone out so brazen before. We arrived. Oh, did I mention we were only 17? So we had to pay off the bouncer. But it's fine, I was already breaking rules. What's one more? We get to the club, and who's the first person I see? Not the high school crush, but my high school bully, except he is not bullying anyone right now. Oh, no. He has his girlfriend pressed up against the wall, and he is kissing her slowly and hypnotically. And I had to wonder, what is it like to be kissed that deeply? Oh, and my friend behind me literally sighed and went, he was masterful. Words I'll remember forever. And he was, but he was not who we were here to see. So we continued looking around, and I don't see my friend, and I don't see Eli, and I'm despairing that we missed it. And then I find out it had never happened. Yeah, they made the whole thing up because they wanted us to come out, and they knew we would come out for this. And they were right. And we were furious, where once hormones were singing through my blood like drugs, now rage took over. So my friend decided to cool our tempers. He would buy us our first drink ever. Again, I'm breaking all the rules tonight. I remember what it was, an amaretto sour. I remember it tasted like candy. But there I was, feeling totally naked in a crowd of my own peers, except we're not in school anymore. So I see mathletes flirting with cheerleaders. I see drama students hanging out with the chess club. I am confused about my point and purpose here. So I went to the only place I knew I was welcome, the bathroom. Yes. Bathrooms are a safe place, a sanctuary where women gather, and there's always a line. It's clearly the hottest club in town. Now this bathroom was one room for everyone, and so the line was all the way down down this super narrow hallway. And there I am standing so sad, so despondent, despairing. What should we do next? And when it's my turn to go into the bathroom, who should come out of that doorway but Eli? Yes, he was holding a red Solo cup in one hand and his girlfriend in the other. Oh my goodness, and I realized he had to walk past me to get back to the party. So what's a Catholic school with zero experience to do when she sees her high school crush with his hand out in front of her? The only thing I could do, I stood up straighter and I puffed out my chest. And for the merest moment, his knuckles brushed my boob. Yes, it was like the moon landing. Roger that we have contact. I squealed out loud. Yep, just a my friend had to shove me into the bathroom because it was embarrassing and other people could hear me. And she wanted to know everything. How was it? Was it good? Did you enjoy it? Of course I did! However, looking back with adult eyes, I have to question, did I harass him a little bit? It does work both ways, you know. If we reverse the story and it happened opposite, would we feel like this was a success story? I mean, it was what I wanted as a teenager, but if I felt that, he felt that. So, that's what we have to do. Reflect on our experiences and question, was that a good thing? At least I can tell it with joy. Am I right? I'm right for now. Yes, well, that was the sneaking out story. And it was so interesting because it lives on in infamy in my heart. And I enjoyed it thoroughly. But I do see how we put different expectations on different people. Because I was the quiet, cute Catholic school, no one said anything. And trust me, when I went back to school on Monday, no one said anything. I was worried, but I had the sweater back on, so it was fine. And the squealing. I mean, I was always an enthusiastic person. I feel things out loud, okay? I make noise, and it makes people uncomfortable, right? There is something about the sounds of pleasure that just, For example, how often do we hear screaming in media, right? We hear it in movies, we can hear it on a roller coaster. But think about cries of pleasure. A nice little, ooh. Now, I did nothing but make a sound, but it meant something to you. It feels a little taboo, doesn't it? Yes. And because we're used to this, we have to ask, what's this doing as a culture to us? When screaming is acceptable, but pleasure is taboo? Our wires are crossed here, people. We have to start teaching the opposite, okay? We have to start teaching that pleasure is good, and honoring the body and honoring your partners is good, and communicating is clearly important. Well, because I was so expressive, and because I had so many female friendships, and because I was still not dating anybody, there came the time when people were like, Are you? Danielle, are you gay? What? First of all, I have plenty of gay friends. If I wanted to be gay, I would go be gay with my friends. But no, I told you, there was no one that I wanted to go out with. And over time, it made my female friendships a source of speculation in the crowds. And people would say, you gotta be gay. Look at the way you hug your friends, you're all over them. And oh, look at the way you make those sounds. You're doing something. And this is something we have to look at because we make things mean things. And there I was just having a great time in high school, and it was a great time. But this bullying continued. Now, I mentioned I saw one bully kissing his girlfriend. I had another bully. This bully was in French class. This was a girl who would find me everywhere, and she was not nice about it. She would attack me. She would knock my books on the floor. One time she swiped me and drew blood. It reminded me of a time when I scratched a boy who told me he liked me. And since society teaches me that when guys do things that hurt me, they like me, I started to view these interactions through a different lens. I started to go, oh. Yes, I transferred out of French class to get away from her. But there was no getting away from her. She always knew where I was. And I remember one time feeling trapped in the library. She and her friends were there cornering me, and I lashed out. Oh yes, I looked at her and I said, at least I'm not the lesbian. I know. I am not proud of this story, people. I was 14 and I thought I was standing up for myself, and I know there's nothing at least about it. I know there's nothing bad and wrong about being gay, but I do know there's something bad and wrong about assaulting a person. And I mentioned we went to Catholic school. I don't know what she was going through, but I did know I became the target of whatever was going on in here. So on another day, feeling freshly harassed, I took chalk. And I'm not proud of this. I wrote on the bricks at the track, French bully is a lesbian dyke. Over and over again. I didn't think anyone was going to see that. 2 miles away from the school. I was used to bullies. My friends had bullies. I would help my friends stand up to them. And when it came to my own bullies, I was like, well, I have to stand up for myself too. So I learned 2 things about myself. 1, I can stand up for my friends and look out for them, and oh my gosh, that's so sweet and kind. And 2, I can make choices that are vengeful and is also bullying. Now, I didn't think it was going to get back to everyone, but guess what happened? Everyone decided Danielle was the lesbian dyke, and the bullying got worse. Oh my goodness, people I didn't know would find me out of their way just to harass me, to let them know they felt like they had more permission to bully me than ever before. And this gave me the perspective of what it must be like to be a youth who is going through a growing up phase in a community where that's unacceptable, in a community where it can be violent and dangerous. So I decided I would become an ally, and I started writing papers. And when I was in senior year of high school, I was in a college prep course, and we had one assignment: write a passionate essay on anything. And I chose gay marriage. Remember, it's 2005. We had to fight still. But the students in that class would not let me read it. Oh my God. They kept interrupting me to say, oh, do you support gay marriage because you're gay? Because apparently that's the only reason we can support people loving each other. Oh, but the worst one when people would say, oh, so if a man loves a sheep, should he be able to marry that sheep? And it just makes me question why. Why does it come to bestiality when it's men loving men? I think men must look at themselves and think they are beasts. This is also where I think slut-shaming comes from. It's not just that a woman has sought her own pleasure. It's that another man has been there before him. Well, I would not stand for that. So, this was my high school experience, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to get out of here, and I finally graduated, and I'm in college now. Woo! I'm 18. I'm still out on the crowd, not dating anyone, and my friends are kind of sick of this shit. All right. Now, I mentioned my gay bestie, B. Here it comes, why it's relevant. One night, he was like, hey, guys, I want to go out to a gay club, but I don't want to go by myself. And we lived in Staten Island, and there was not much queer community in Staten Island at the time. So he was like, do you guys want to come? And we were like, hell yeah, let's go! So we all got dressed up, and it was my first clubbing experience. It was 3 floors of undulating bodies, just I'm having a ball. There's tons of people there. There's men hooking up with men. There's women hooking up with women. There's women hooking up with men. Everyone was hooking up with everyone. And I'm dancing with my buddy. We're having a good time, but little do I know that my 2 best friends have decided tonight's the night. And I come back and I'm like, hey guys, how you doing? And they're like, Danielle, it's time. And I say, what time? And they say, it's time for you to be kissed. And then I said, I don't know any of these people. And they said, Danielle, you have to be kissed. We are tired of Unicorn Hernandez, all right? Stop waiting for rose petals in the wind. You're putting too much pressure on it. And a little bit they were right. I was putting way too much pressure on it. I wanted my first kiss to be romantic and magical and with someone who cared about me. And so, with the wind out of my sails, I surrendered a small dream. But I made sure to help pick the guy. He was someone who smiled, and he was stubbly, and we danced and we laughed, and I kissed him on the dance floor, and it was all right. It was fine, but I didn't want to be kissing him. I remember I withheld tongue. I was like, tongue is for someone special. I still remember the way he tasted like smoke, cigarettes. And so after our one kiss and our one dance, I went back to my friends. I didn't want to pretend anymore. I wanted them to celebrate me. Oh, wasn't I such a good sport about that thing that I didn't want to do because I gave in to peer pressure? Yes. Well, I knew I did not want to repeat that same mistake with something even more special. So there I am, crossing the club, when who do I see across the room but French Bully? Oh, yes, there she is, cut her hair boy short and wearing sporty clothes. Listen, looks like she had embraced herself. And there I was in the exact same gay club. And I had to wonder, did she see me kissing that strange man, losing my kiss virginity to some rando? Or did she only see the mirror image of another Catholic schoolgirl in a gay club? Ooh, I still feel the pressure of that moment. You know, I've questioned why do I include this portion? Why do I tell you about that bullying? Why do I have to bring up deep shame? And it is deep shame. But I want to share something that happened with you recently. I was on the phone with my grandmother, and she was concerned because, Danielle, you aren't dating anyone. And she was like, tell me the truth. Are you gay? And I was like, oh my God, my high school experience really happened. I didn't make that stuff up. It was real. The trauma, it's surging. We project what we expect onto other people, but that doesn't make it true. Just because I'm friendly and I'm kind, I am friendly and I am kind, doesn't mean I have to be carnal with another person. Remember, I grew up watching all of these things, favoring friendship, the love that is a choice. It has nothing to do with our bodies, and favoring empowerment and finding our strength. But we do live in a world that puts these expectations on people and feels that because I have a certain set of chromosomes, I have to feel one way about the other set of chromosomes. But let me remind you that I also have chromosomes that make my hair curly and my eyes brown, and that doesn't dictate who I talk to or flirt with, does it? No. So, when it came time, I knew I wanted my first time to be special. I was not going to repeat the mistake of peer pressure with something so sacred, so important, my divine right to union, something I had been looking forward to since childhood. And I made sure to wait until I met up with a person who genuinely cherished me. And when I found that person, trust me, did I make that guy wait? Ooh, it was a full year and a half before I felt ready to trade in that V card. Now, I do not like to say losing your virginity, because we're not losing anything, are we? No, I like to say cashing in, because I'm gaining something. I'm accruing interest, all right? And I did not cash in that V card until I was 20 years old. And you know what? Worth it. Because It was what I wanted, and it was with the person who truly cherished me, and it made all the difference. It was my dream, and I made sure I'm going to make this one real for me. And that's what we have to do. We have to look at our dreams, and we have to bring them into our world, because we are here, whether we touch them or not. But when we make the choice to bring them with us, it changes the whole experience. I had to redefine my fears, and that was work. I mean, look at this. I had a dream I wanted to do a show, so I put on a show for you guys. Right? I wanted a romantic hero, so I became a romantic hero. And I still have dreams of lining up with the right person who's gonna match these morals and values and be half Disney prince and half Dread Pirate Roberts. Someone who my inner child can play with and my inner Venus can play with too. Someone who knows that this is what I do and talk about and who I am, but that doesn't mean that she's either a pure woman or a whole woman. No, we are complex creatures and we're filled with choices. And even though we're taught stupid messages like, oh, some people can't control themselves, we know that's not true. Otherwise, half my audience would not be choosing to sit quietly in the dark, keeping their hands to themselves. Thank you for making that choice, by the way. Yes. So, inner child Danielle is back on track. She's in the driver's seat with me. She's holding the GPS. And I'm right here with her because there's quite a ways to go. We're living in a time that we never have seen before, and a time that our ancestors hoped we would never see again. We are living in a time where I was able to come up on stage and celebrate these beautiful freedoms with you, and in a time where it's like, but also we have got to fight to keep them, because we have got to take the honor that we have learned and share it with the masses. I mean, don't we want to be prepared? And we have to make sure not to let the inner crew mutiny, because those inner voices can get dark and they can get mean. And when that happens, it helps to just sing along. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. And it helps if we sing along. So this is what we're gonna do. I am gonna start the first chorus, and then you, in the first few rows, are going to start the first chorus while I move on to the second chorus, and we're gonna syncopate this bad boy on and on and on. Let's do it in 3 tiers. Are you ready? Here we go. I'll begin and then I'll point to you. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. My beautiful dreamers, wake up! The show is over. Let's get some lights on, people! And I'm gonna drink some water. For she is parched. Hold on, nobody move. I want to take a picture of you guys. Stay right there. Oh my God, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. All right, everyone throw your hands in the air. Woo! All right, now I'm going to take a selfie with you guys. Hey! Awesome. Awesome. Oh, all right, here we go. Yes. Thank you so much for coming out. You've been amazing. raffle going on outside. Oh, but before we go, yes, we do have a raffle. If you put in to win one of the posters, it's about that time to find out who won one of these posters. Could you bring it to me, please? Are we still putting names in? We're still putting names in. Excellent. Now I've got stickers. If you had a code, you got a free sticker. But if you want another free sticker, just do a little video review about Danielle XX, and I'll give you a free sticker. Yes, and if you do it with me, that's more fun for the both of us. Excellent, excellent. Okay, looks like it's approaching. I will summon it towards me. Is there a bag or is it?
It's coming. Hold on.
Pose for another picture.
Come
on,
Do you want me?
Hi, Gerald.
Thank you. Almost. There we are. Well done. Yes. All right. Let's see. So I have two posters. I'm going to pull two names. Good to see such lovely, familiar faces. Oh my God, Henry Lee! Henry Lee was one of my warriors in the war zone. All right, and let's see. Let's shake it up and let's summon the one who wants the poster, and it will be in the best place at the best time, and it is Rebecca Hoodwin! Thank you so much, everyone who came out. I'm going to put on human clothes again. And again, there's a festival going on outside, but Miss Nellie's just across the place is where I'll be taking myself and hopefully where you will take yourselves to join me for a beverage and some food and some downtime and some chats. So, converse amongst yourselves while I shut it down. All right.